Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut al mundo.
Hello, this is Norma Rodriguez Reyes, your host in Que Pasa. You're listening to us via WNHH 103.5 FM. You can also see us live via Facebook and La Voz Hispana. And also you can stream it through lavozhispanact.com. Here live on our studio audience, we have with us today Dita Bhargavak.
That's right. Hi, Norma. Thank you for having me.
And Dita Bhargavak is a former vice chairwoman of the state's Democratic Party, had initially explored the possibility of running for governor before settling on the treasurer's race. I think the treasurer's position is going to be extremely important over the next several years as we navigate our state back to a fiscally and economically sustainable and vibrant path, Bhargavak said in an interview with the Hartford Courant. The Canadian-born Bhargavak worked in the financial services industry as a foreign exchange trader and portfolio manager at firms including RBS, Credit Suisse, Citibank, and Citadel. She left the private sector in 2015 to co-found the nonprofit Parity Partnerships of Connecticut, which focuses on gender inequality in the workplace, and ran successfully in 2016 for state representative. If elected, Bhargavak will become the first Indian American to hold statewide office in Connecticut. Treasurer Denise Napier, who has held this position since 1999, is not seeking re-election. And today we have her with us because she wants to be the next treasurer of the state of Connecticut. Thank you so much, Dita, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me here today. It's wonderful to be here.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what it was like running for governor, and then why all of a sudden you decided you don't want to be governor, you want to be treasurer.
Yeah, so I was exploring a run for governor, and like you said, 2 years ago, I did run for the office of state representative, assembly person out of Fairfield County, which I learned much about the Connecticut woes and our fiscal and economic, which I was already aware. But when I talked to people across the state, it became very painfully, obvious that we need change in our state. We need new ideas, innovative leadership, and many people started encouraging me to run for higher office. As I was the vice chair of the state party, I also traveled the state around, and I became aware that people are very disheartened about the future of Connecticut, and I believe in this state. I think we have a great future ahead of us, but I do believe that it's time for change. And so as I explored a run for governor, two things happened. One, our current treasurer, Denise Napier, decided earlier this year that she was not going to seek re-election. And Denise, being the first woman ever elected to that seat, woman of color, I know that there are big shoes to fill. But her departing creates a void in an office that is going to be extremely important as we navigate our state back to fiscal health, as you said. And the other thing is that I'm very nervous about some of the irresponsible policies that Donald Trump is putting forward, adding trillions of dollars of deficit, very irresponsible and unorthodox policy. And I'm nervous about those assets that the Treasury manages for our pensioners and our retirees, that if we don't have a steady hand at the helm who understands financial markets and fiscal policy and macroeconomics, that our assets are already under pressure, and Donald Trump's policies might put further pressure on those assets. And I know we need to maximize the returns and protect those assets so we can fill our obligations to our retirees.
So, Dita, were you born in Connecticut?
I was not. I was born and raised in Canada. My parents were both immigrants from India, so I'm actually an immigrant to the U.S. I've been here since 1995.
Okay, so you were state representative for where?
Oh no, I ran for state representative. I did not win.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
So tell us. Oh, okay, so you didn't get to win there. So what you ran for what area, and how did you find, what was it like politicking out there, and were people acceptable to your campaign, and what do you see out
Absolutely.
there now?
So when I ran for state rep, first of all, I retired out of the financial sector really to dedicate myself to public service and, civic engagement. When I had my own children, it took me back to a place when I was a child. My mom was a single immigrant parent. In our culture at that time, divorce was unheard of. So she struggled economically. She struggled socially, but she's a strong, strong woman. And she taught my sisters and I three things: to educate ourselves, to always try and reach our full potential and work hard, and to never forget our humble roots. And when I had my own children, it took me back to that place where I internalized my mother's struggles, and I internalized the struggles of many who were still stuck in that place that my mother was. And I felt very fortunate that I had worked hard and that I had the resources for childcare, for my kids to go to good schools, that they had access to good schools, but equally passionate that I needed to help those who were stuck the way my mother was, and that we were. And so I started the nonprofit that you spoke about. I also joined the board of the Urban League of Southern Connecticut that helps empower underserved communities. And that brought me to then the policy making, that in order to complete the picture and how much I could help the communities, that a voice in policy would really help.
So you could have gone so many places. Why Connecticut?
Oh, I love
From Canada. What attracted you from Canada to Connecticut?
Yeah, actually, there's an in-between. I did spend 12 years in New York City. And after I got married and my husband and I were thinking about starting a family, we knew that Connecticut was the place to raise a family. So we moved here to start our family over 10 years ago. Both our beautiful children are born in this great state. And I love it here. I think it's a great place for families. The moral character of Connecticut is fantastic. But we need help. We've certainly gone down a road economically and fiscally that we need to navigate out of. And I believe we can do it, but I do think we need experienced leaders and passionate leaders who I am very passionate about progressive values that this state has. I want my children to live here forever because of the progressive values that we have in this state. We need to protect those, and we need to get our state back on an economically sound path.
Okay, so we have about, 3 or 4 Democratic candidates that want to be treasurer, and I don't know how, I think one Latino on the Republican side that wants to be treasurer. Why should the people of Connecticut vote for you as their treasurer?
Right. That's a great question, Norma. Well, first of all, I'm very dedicated to progressive change, and I've been running as a pro-business progressive. First of all, I think we need to empower small businesses to create those well-paying jobs for our middle-class and working-class families, which, I know there's a huge community of Hispanic people who fall in that, hardworking folks who are really dedicated to good work ethic and providing for their families. And that's where a place that I come from. Secondly, I strongly believe that I am the most qualified for the position. What I bring to the table is 20 years of managing investment portfolios. And I have seen many market cycles. I've navigated through up markets and down markets. And I think what could be coming with Donald Trump's policies is a period where we will have economic instability, where we may have a lot of volatility in the markets, lower asset prices, higher inflation, and that could really put pressure on our assets that are already hard-pressed to meet our liabilities, and we're struggling to meet our liabilities to retirees that we have promised. And it's very important that we put somebody in that position who knows how to navigate through that and can protect and grow our assets so that we can live up to those promises we've made to our retirees and our pensioners.
Okay. The crisis, the financial crisis that we have in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. And then not only did the island have a serious financial crisis, but then with the 2 hurricanes back to back that hit it, that destroyed the island to a point where the island of Puerto Rico will never be the same. And there's a lot of investment, a lot of Connecticut monies that have been invested in Puerto Rico. And given the fact that a lot of them are not in a position to pay them back, and it's like, it reminds me of the situation in which all of these folks were given expensive homes that they could not qualify for, that they definitely couldn't keep up the payments anymore, and then they ended up with foreclosure and the banks taking over these foreclosed properties. I think basically that's where a lot of the monies that Connecticut will be financing is involved in Puerto Rico. How do you see, that taking place? Because I know, for instance, they've been calling, Yale has a big portfolio, a lot of monies invested, and they've been a big cry to have Yale divest from them and even forgive the so that the Puerto Rican people can have a fresh start, and even though it's never going to have a fresh start, given, like I mentioned, you double jeopardy there with the financial crisis and then all these hurricanes. How do you see? What solution do you see? With that?
That's a great question. First of all, as the next treasurer, I would want to do everything possible within the Treasury to help Puerto Rico during this very, very devastating time. I'm proud that Connecticut has had the open arms to displaced Puerto Ricans, and it is our duty as Americans to help our fellow Americans. And I will completely, as a leader, continue to support the notion that we need to help these folks. If they're coming to our state, we need to open up our doors, we need to open up our schools, we need to find housing, we need to empower these people. I absolutely am very empathetic to what happened there. I have friends who are in Puerto Rico. I've been there several times. Beautiful, beautiful place, and it's very sad to see what's happening. So I would do everything possible. Now, we want to find solutions that will work for Puerto Rico. And part of that is to understand, first of all, what is it that the Puerto Rican government wants? Because we don't want to be in a situation where, first of all, Norma, I will never say anything for political reasons. I will always speak the truth and try and find those solutions that work for everyone, but I will never make promises that I know that I can't deliver. And I think other candidates have, on this particular issue, been doing that, which I find is wrong. But I want to look for those solutions that work for Puerto Rico and the government. If you look at Greece, for instance, they were in a huge, huge financial crisis, and they had a lot of pension money from Europeans that was invested in them. They did not want to be in a situation where all of those loans were forgiven, because what it does is it cripples them from having the ability to rebuild, because their credit would be so subsidized or compromised that they would never be able to borrow from the market again. So we would want to find solutions where Puerto Rico says, listen, the best thing for us, if they say this, is to restructure those loans so that we don't have to pay the whole thing. We have a much more favorable way of paying it, but that way we are still having access to the market, where our integrity is not compromised, and the long-term future of Puerto Rico being able to rebuild itself is still intact. And that's what I would want to look for as the next treasurer.
Well, I thank you so much. Time is of essence. Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience before we close?
Yeah, so thank you for having me here. Listen, as an immigrant to this country, as someone who grew up in an environment where I had to fight harder because of our economic situation at home. I also lived in an area where people were not so educated about different ethnicities. I walked to school as a 6-year-old, being yelled at, being told to go back to where I came from, and scared and intimidated. I am so committed to the fact that no child should ever feel that they're not comfortable in their own skin, that they don't have the opportunities that everybody else does. It is our duty to make sure that every child, every family, every person, every immigrant, every American person has the same opportunities, because in the long run, it makes us stronger. That's what our country is built on. And I'm only doing this because I want to be an advocate for that. And I hope people support me because I want to support them.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Norma.
I want to remind you that you have been listening to Diva Bhargavak, and she wants to be your next treasurer. You're going to have an opportunity to vote on, and the primaries are in August.
August, that's right. August 5th, yes.
August 5th, all of those that are registered as Democrats and as Republicans will be able to vote. If you're not registered with the party, you can only vote in November. I think there is still time for you. If you want to switch to a party, there's still time left for you to do that. Otherwise, other people will be making the decision for you.
And Norma, if I could just say, if people want to reach out to me, please do. I want to hear from you. My website is dita4ct.com, DITAFORCT.com. My email address is there. I want to hear from you. Gracias.
Thank you so much. And until next time, this is Norma Rodriguez Reyes, your host en ¿Qué pasa?
Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut al mundo. Prepárense para obtener su licencia de conducir en Connecticut. Ahora en New Haven, preparamos a personas indocumentadas y documentadas. Las clases son de 8 horas obligatorias por el Departamento de Motores y Vehículos. Y estas clases incluyen drogas y alcohol y técnicas para manejar de manera segura. Estas clases también incluyen un manual para el estudio para pasar el examen escrito y 100 preguntas que posiblemente estén en el examen. ¿Por qué? Porque a nosotros nos interesa que usted pase el examen a la primera vez que lo tome. Estamos localizados en el 51 de Elm Street, Suite 307, tercer piso, New Haven, Connecticut. Código postal 06510. El número de teléfono 203-376-0864 o el 203-907-0361. Las clases son miércoles y jueves. Estamos certificados por el Departamento de Motores y Vehículos DMV del Estado de Connecticut. Ahora es el tiempo y el momento. Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut al mundo.
Muy buenas tardes, esta es Norma Rodríguez Reyes en el show ¿Qué pasa? Ustedes nos están escuchando a través de WNHH 103.5 FM. También nos pueden en su computadora si ponen lavozradiotv.com o newhavenindependent.org. Aquí en nuestro estudio tenemos en vivo a Dita Bhargavak. Y Dita Bhargavak, ella era vicepresidenta del Partido Estatal del Partido Demócrata. Ella había previamente iniciado la posibilidad de correr como gobernadora del estado de Connecticut, pero ahora ha cambiado y ella quiere ser su tesorera del estado. Yo creo que la posición de tesorera va a ser extremadamente importante sobre los próximos años para poder navegar y volver al estado fiscalmente y económicamente en esa gira. Dita Bhargavak dijo esto en una entrevista con el periódico Hartford Courant. Dita nació en Canadá y trabajaba para servicios financiera bajo esa industria como intercambio de dinero en términos de manejaba un portfolio incluyendo RBS, Credit Suisse, Citibank y Citadel. Ella dejó el sector privado en el 2015 para fundar su propia sin fines de lucros que se llama Parity Partnership de Connecticut, en la cual se enfoca en la inigualdad en el trabajo. Y ella corrió, ¿ok?, para representante estatal. Si ella es electa, ella va a ser la primera americana india para aguantar esta posición en Connecticut. Denise Napier, la tesorera presente, que ha tenido esa posición desde el 1999, decidió que no va a correr para reelección. Así que, Dita, muchas gracias por estar aquí hoy con nosotros.
Hola, gracias.
Mira, si ustedes ven a Dita, ustedes empiezan a hablarle español porque ella parece a nosotros, se parece muy latina. I say that if they see you, they'll start speaking Spanish to you because you look very Latin.
I would like to learn.
Sí, está aprendiendo mucho el español. Bueno, Dita, dinos por favor, ¿por qué tú primeramente estaba corriendo para gobernadora y después cambiaste para tesorera?
Yeah, so I originally explored a run for governor because I believe in our state, but I think it's time for new type of leadership.
Yo originalmente exploré una corrida para gobernadora, pero yo creo en el Estado y es tiempo para una nueva dirección.
And much of what I was talking about as exploring for a governor, I talked about having a better fiscal stability and situation and better job opportunity and economics in our state.
Okay. Mientras yo estaba corriendo como gobernadora, mucho de lo que yo me pasaba hablando era sobre la situación fiscal en la cual nuestro estado se encuentra, tener más empleos y una economía mucho mejor.
When our current state treasurer, Denise Napier, decided not to seek re-election, she was the only woman ever elected to that seat, a woman of color, and I'm very proud to be running for the same position. But her position is very important as we navigate our state back to fiscal stability.
Okay. Denise Napier, cuando ella ganó, ella fue la primera afroamericana para tener y mujer para tener esta posición. Así que yo me siento orgullosa de estar corriendo también para esa misma posición.
Sí.
Okay. So, as treasurer of the state of Connecticut, what will you be doing, given the fact that we have, I think, 3 or 4 Democratic candidates and 1 Latino Republican candidate? Como tesorera, ¿por qué se debe votar por ti, dado de que tenemos como 3 o 4 demócratas que están corriendo y un latino en el Partido Republicano?
See, thank you. So because I spent 20 years as an investment manager and have managed big investments, I have the experience that is needed in that office to grow those pension assets that we have to grow so that we can meet our obligations to the retirees that we have promised.
Ok, yo he gastado 20 años de mi vida manejando diferentes portfolios grandes y tengo la experiencia. Se necesita para poder entonces, con esa experiencia, se puede entonces crecer la economía, el dinero, especialmente para poder pagar todo lo que se tiene que pagar para las pensiones de las personas que están retiradas.
And I also want to build on the progressive and responsible initiatives like expanding the Children's 529 program. Specifically, I want to see that we ensure that the Hispanic community has access to that savings program so that their children can afford to get the education that will help empower them.
Okay. Ella quiere poder construir progresivamente iniciativas que sean responsables financieramente y quiere expandir en el programa 529 especialmente para los niños hispanos, para que así puedan ir a la universidad. Tell us a little bit more to educate our Hispanic community about the 528 program. Dinos un poquito más para educar a nuestros oyentes sobre el programa de 529, que yo creo que ustedes quisieran saber de esto.
So within the Treasury, there is a program called Connecticut Higher Education Trust, and also the Connecticut Higher Education Trust Dream Big program, which provides grants, scholarships, and educational saving plans. And right now, there's over $3 billion in that fund. I want to grow it more, and I want to make sure that we have a portion of that fund that is earmarked for qualifying Hispanic families.
Okay. El programa 529, okay, es muy importante porque es para los que van a ir para educación, después que se gradúan de la escuela secundaria, o para otras personas es la escuela superior, entonces uno va para la universidad. Ese programa te ayuda para, así dándote dinero gratis, dándote becas para poder promover tu educación. En estos momentos tiene $3 billones en ese fondo y ella quiere poder crecer ese fondo para dárselo para personas que cualifican para esos fondos.
And also, I want to work on a financial literacy program that our young folks can learn how to save and how to manage their finances. And this also should be readily accessible to our Hispanic and Latino residents.
Yo también quiero crear, un programa para que uno sepa sobre las finanzas, especialmente los jóvenes, que hoy en día eso no se nos enseñaba cuando nosotros éramos jóvenes. Para que uno sepa sobre cómo lidiar con sus finanzas, cómo manejarla y cómo ahorrar. Gracias. Sí. Thank you so much. So that being said, that is the reason why you feel that you qualified to be the next treasurer. Let's talk a little bit about something that's very passionate for our Latinos, and especially for the Puerto Rican community. Mm-hmm. As you well know, Puerto Rico suffered a serious debt crisis, which there was a diaspora. Thousands and thousands of Puerto Ricans were leaving the island because of the financial crisis that the island was with. Then not only do we have the financial crisis, but then we also have Hurricane Irma, and then a few weeks later, we have Hurricane Maria, in which it totally devastated the entire makeup of the island, so that even more and more people are leaving. A lot of the monies that the state of Connecticut has is invested in Puerto Rico, so therefore it's a debt that Puerto Rico has that owes Connecticut. How do you find that, given the situation in which Puerto Rico is finding itself in, and Connecticut, obviously, they need to get paid, how would you be willing to deal with this situation? Mm-hmm. Now let me stay in Spanish. Yo le estaba preguntando a la que quiere ser tesorera del Estado, a Dita Bhargavak, de que dado la situación en la cual Puerto Rico, la isla de Puerto Rico se encuentra, ustedes saben que Puerto Rico estaba en una deuda financiera tan grande que la economía estaba tan devastada que causó que miles y miles de personas se fueran de la isla. Además de eso, vinieron 2 huracanes, Irma y el huracán María, que totalmente destrozaron a la isla de Puerto Rico. Ahora, ¿qué es lo que ella haría con la situación de tratar de perdonar la deuda financiera en la cual Puerto Rico se encuentra, pero a la misma manera proteger a la gente de Connecticut que tienen inversiones allá, porque ese es el dinero, con ese dinero que se le paga a los que se han retirado del estado de Connecticut?
So, Norma, I want to do as the next treasurer, and even if I'm not treasurer, I would like us to do everything possible within the Treasury to help Puerto Rico during this very, very devastating time. I am proud that Connecticut has opened up its arms to displaced Puerto Ricans. It is our duty as Americans to help out our fellow Americans, and I will continue to advocate as a leader for Connecticut to be a place of shelter, a place where we welcome displaced Puerto Ricans in our schools, in our communities, in our homes.
Okay. Ella dice que sea electa o no, ella hará todo lo que es posible para ayudar a Puerto Rico, pero también se siente sumamente orgullosa que Connecticut ha extendido su mano a las personas que vienen, que han perdido sus casas, que han perdido casi todo, y que aquí hay Connecticut gente que están ayudándolo, que le están dando la bienvenida.
Mm-hmm. And Connecticut actually has very, very little invested in Puerto Rico. But if it did, I think it would be very, very important to find a solution that is best for Puerto Rico and is also doable within the Treasury. So to find that best solution that will help Puerto Rico so that they don't, so that they have the opportunity to rebuild by being able to borrow still. And that is what I would work for, is to restructure the debt so that Puerto Rico can still remain strong.
Okay. Aunque Puerto Rico Connecticut tiene muy poco. Recuérdense, estamos hablando del estado de Connecticut, no estamos hablando de los individuales de Connecticut, sino el estado de Connecticut tiene muy poco invertido en Puerto Rico, pero que ella haría todo en su poder para tratar de buscar una solución, la mejor solución para que sea posible, dada la posición que ella va a tener como tesorera del Estado. Lo que ella también haría es una oportunidad para reestructurar la deuda, para que así entonces Puerto Rico se ponga en una posición en la que en el mañana sí pueda nuevamente volver a coger en prestado.
Sí.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Dita, is there anything that you would like to say to our audience before we close? Because time is,
I know. There's so much I want to say. But I will say, as an immigrant, as somebody who grew up as the daughter of a single parent who was an immigrant, who, as someone who grew up walking to school as a young child and being told to go back to where I came from, I am so passionate to make sure that all our children and all our communities, regardless of where they are from, that they all have opportunity and that they never feel uncomfortable in their own skin. This is why I am running for office. I was fortunate to have access to education, and that made all the difference for me. I want to make sure that every person in our state, all the Hispanic people, have access to good education so that they can also have all the opportunities that I did.
Gracias. Yo quiero que ustedes sepan que como una inmigrante, ¿ok? Yo sé lo que es, y especialmente una inmigrante de que mi mamá fue la única que me crié sin mi papá. Yo sé lo que era andar a la escuela y de que la gente me dijera, vete para atrás de donde viniste. Yo quiero asegurarme que todos los niños, no importando de dónde vengan, que tengan la oportunidad que yo tuve. Yo tuve la oportunidad de tener acceso a educación. Y eso es lo que yo quiero hacer, asegurarme que todo niño tenga acceso a educación.
And lastly, I want to say I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt, I'm a wife. I love my family, and family is very important to me, as it is for the Hispanic community. I know how much they value their family. So this is why I'm running for office, to empower our families.
Okay. Además, quiero recordarle que yo soy una madre, una hija, una tía, y una esposa. Yo amo a mi familia y yo sé que para todos los hispanos la familia es muy importante. Yo estoy corriendo para empoderar a mi familia. Gracias.
Gracias. Can you just tell them my website?
Sí.
Oh, so please reach out to me. I want to hear from you. You can find me at dita4ct.com. DITAFORCT.com. Muchas gracias.
Ok. Yo quisiera oír de ustedes. Ustedes pueden a través de la red ir a dita4ct.com. D de David, I T de Tomás, A F O R C de casa, T de Tomás.com. Ok, dita4ct.com. Bueno, hasta la próxima. Aquí se despide de ustedes Norma Rodríguez Reyes a través del show que pasa. Le quiero desear a todos ustedes salud, dinero y amor y tiempo para disfrutarlo y que vivan 120 años en buena salud. Hasta la próxima.
Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut al mundo.